Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel, and check out my Specialized S-Works Crux in full bikepacking mode. I've just returned from a 350-kilometre 3-day bikepacking trip around the south of England, the King Alfred's Way. Definitely a route I can highly recommend. I'll put a link to it down below. I did it 3 years ago during the sort of COVID lockdowns, so fun to get back out and explore it again. And last time I used my Fairlight Sacan, a steel bike, and this time I used my Specialized Crux, a super lightweight carbon CX race bike, but now a gravel bike. And yes, I know, not the most obvious choice for bike packing, not billed as a bike packing bike at all, but as I discovered, it worked pretty well. So in this video, I'll give you a tour of the bike, point out what I used and what worked and didn't work, and why I think the Crux is such a versatile bike that can do everything from CX racing to gravel racing to road riding to bike packing. But before we dive in, this video is sponsored by Insta360, and this entire video is filmed on the new Ace Pro.
I've used all the latest action cameras, and this Ace Pro is head and shoulders above the rest, which is why I'm happy to be sponsored by the company. The camera packs a high quality Leica lens and a large sensor to give amazing image quality in all conditions, even low light scenarios. It shoots up to 8K video and 48 megapixel photos, making it fantastic for capturing moving and stills action. And honestly, everything I film with the camera looks so sharp, the colours are super vivid, and it gives sensational results. A massive 2.4-inch flip-out screen is mega useful for self-filming and making sure you're in the frame. And it's also gesture and voice controlled too, all aimed at making it easier to film your adventures, whatever they might be. There are a bunch of neat accessories as well, and the magnetic mounting system is genius. You can find out more about the new Insta360 Ace Pro by following my link down below.
So this is my Specialized S-Works Crux, which I bought last year, and not the most obvious bike packing setup I know. There aren't loads of mounts for bags and bottles, but as you can see, it's set up and it did work extremely well for a bike packing trip. So starting from the back, I have the tail fin. Quite an expensive system, I know, but a great investment. I've had this for a few years now and it works really well. It bolts onto the frame via the through axle, so it goes onto any bike really well, and it's really secure and really durable because the through axle is taking all the weight off the bag. And I prefer it to saddle packs that strap around the seat post because it stays in place, it doesn't sway around, and it's much easier to get into the bag with a roll top system. You've got extra mounts down here, got my rear light on there just in case, and another tail fin bag around there strapped to this cargo system here. So that's the main sort of focus of my bike packing setup. Then moving to the frame, I have an old Rafa frame pack, which I'm not sure they even make it anymore, but does fit the frame really well. A few Velcro straps, it doesn't move around, it has all the space I need and looks kind of cool as well. And then further up, an Apogura handlebar bag. So it is quite a minimal setup, I know, but 3 days isn't a long time, but I had more than enough space, all the stuff I needed. So up front, I had all my camping and sleeping equipment, my super lightweight tent, sleeping bag, and other bits and bobs. Then in my frame pack, mostly food, snacks, nuts, chocolate, flapjacks, and so on. Charging cables and a battery bank for my computer and phone, and a toolkit as well, so multi-tool, spare tubes, 2 bottles, and a Silka gravel pump there, just easier to access if you need it. And then in here I had clothing, so spare bike clothing, shorts, jersey, base layer, socks, and that sort of stuff. And in here, my camping stove, my mug, more clothing for off the bike, so trousers, fleece, a down jacket, a puffer jacket, and other bits and bobs. I'll show you everything in these bags in a moment. So that's the main bike packing setup, and it, like I said, it worked really well. Didn't give me any issues, no creaks or squeaks or anything coming loose, and the bike can handle it. It's a really lightweight frame, 725 grams, remember, so a nice lightweight platform to start from before you add weight. And this entire bike weighed just over 18 kilos with 2 water bottles, so pretty lightweight. SRAM Force Explore group set, so a 10-44 on the back and a 40 on the front. Mostly I had all the range I needed. There were a few times when I wish I had the newer 46 on the back, or even an Eagle 10-52 for more range. The battery easily lasted 3 days, no issues there. And I only lubed the chain with Silka Synergetic on the morning of the first day and didn't touch it during the ride, and it was still going fine. No squeaking from a chain at all. Then for the wheels, I've been riding these Zip 303 Firecrest wheels for quite a while on the bike. Definitely a bit overkill for the adventure. We weren't riding fast, so didn't really need the aero, but nice to have. But really showed how strong and tough and durable carbon wheels are, and they didn't let me down at all. And using the new WTB Volpine 45mm wide tyres, the regular on the front with a nice tread pattern there, and the S on the back with the smooth bit down the middle. Probably on a few sections it was dry and dusty, but there were quite a few rocky, looser sections where a chunkier tread pattern would have been nice, but they mostly coped okay. And thankfully I had no punctures, I had no mechanicals to speak of at all, so the bike worked very smoothly indeed. And then because I'm getting on a bit, I like a bit of comfort, and I have the Cane Creek E-Silk suspension seat post. It doesn't give a lot of travel, but just enough to take the impacts out of some of the bigger potholes and rocks, and definitely help my back survive the 3 days riding. And the Ergon all-road core saddle, which I'm a big fan of. I like the shape, nice and broad along the top. And we have this extra special material here, sort of an elastomer vibration damping material to give a bit more comfort, which works really well. So a saddle I highly recommend, really impressed with that. You can sit in that saddle all day long and you'll be just fine. And then moving up front, I have the same Zip gravel handlebar, flare drop handlebar and stem, 90mm stem and a 40cm, maybe 42cm wide handlebar there. A little bell down here, just because you're on shared use trails with dog walkers and runners. A light bracket there for riding to the pub and back in the evening, and the new Garmin Edge 1050, which I used for 3 days, full navigation, power meter and heart rate sensor. Didn't charge it for 3 days and finished the ride with just about 20% battery remaining and an estimated 9-hour run time. So really, really good run time, really impressed. Not having to charge the Garmin at all was pretty amazing. So yeah, the Crux isn't the most obvious choice for a bikepacking trip, but as I found out, it worked just fine.
And I certainly had no regrets about my choice. The smoothness is very impressive indeed, and doesn't give much away to my steel frame Fairlight. The 45mm wide tyres at low pressures definitely help in this regard. If I'm being picky though, I would be minded to add a suspension stem next time, purely because parts of the route are extremely bumpy, thanks in part to the hot weather baking hard the dirt. Some sections were like riding on corrugated concrete, not much fun at all. And if I'm being even pickier, the slacker and longer geometry of mountain bike inspired gravel bikes like the 51 Assassin or Merida Silex for example might be easier and smoother on the rough trails we encountered. Such complaints might well be answered by a Diverge, the Specialized gravel bike which is more naturally suited to bikepacking and has front suspension underneath the stem, and it also has down tube storage and a lot more mounts on the frame and fork for bags, plus arguably a better geometry for gravel and bikepacking.
So yeah, the Crux, while not the most natural choice for a bikepacking trip, does do bikepacking pretty well, and once again shows just how versatile the Crux is. Gravel racing, CX racing, road riding with slick tyres and bikepacking. So I am once again pleased with my purchase of the Crux last year, and a bike that seemingly can do it all. But let me know what you think of the Crux as a bikepacking setup. Have you bought a Crux and used it for bikepacking, or do you think I should use a better bike designed for bikepacking for such a trip? I'll put a link to the King Alfred Way route down below. Definitely recommend it. A really fun, enjoyable way to do 3 days of riding, or longer or shorter if you want. We saw one guy doing it in a oneer in one go, and you could do 4 or 5 days depending on your pace and ability. There are no right or wrong way to do it, so do whatever works for you. But it is a fantastic experience, a great way to explore that lovely part of England. So yeah, a lot of fun. Anyway, I'll leave a link to my review of the Crux up there in that video floating around, and don't forget to subscribe by hitting that button right here. But that's all today. I'm off to wash a bike and get a full service and strip down ready for my next adventure. Stay tuned for that very soon. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching.